With an escalating war with China and the world at large with tariffs and reciprocal tariffs, how does this trade war affect us as a small American manufacturer? And what are the things that we're doing to defend ourselves? All this and more on today's episode of the Murdy Creative Co podcast. And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is trade war and tariffs. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's M-U-R-D-Y creative.co. Or you can check us out on all of our social medias. We really appreciate that. So the first question is this: how does a giant trade war with the rest of the world affect us? It doesn't. Good night. USA, USA. Anyway, so realistically, it is a relatively minor impact on us because of these steps we've taken over the last 8 years, ever since the beginning of this company and our perpetual goal of making everything in-house and everything made in the USA. There are some minor parts of the products that actually do have overseas components, and I'll go into those in great detail, explain why those are important, but not really. And obviously, I want to talk a little bit more about the specifics of what we've done to prevent our issues. So way back in the dawn of time, when the Murdy Creative Company first got started, we had used leather that came from a third party that we had purchased from Missouri, and they had bought it from overseas, I'm guessing, and we very quickly said we wanted to be made in USA leather. So we hunted for a tannery, and we found one in Milwaukee, and we've loved working with them. And then the next step was, obviously, since our first product was our binders, the next step was, well, the bolts. Can we make the bolts? And we found a manufacturer out in California who makes screws and bolts the old-fashioned way on a screw machine. And we've had a great relationship with them for, well, at this point, it's been 8 years. They were with us pretty much within the first couple of months. And we've loved working with them. So the core components of the number one are entirely, all of the components are entirely made in the USA. So those are unaffected by the trade war entirely. And the really important question you ask yourself is, what does made in USA mean? We put that on our products. What does that qualify? The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, right? Yeah, has required that for the Made in USA stamp to be applied, all or virtually all of the raw materials and labor have to be done in the United States. Now, virtually all or virtually all is kind of an interesting standard. It's actually the highest in the world. For most other countries, the way that you determine whether something is made in China or made in Italy or made in Germany is whether it goes through what's called a substantive transformation or substantial transformation. In the world of international trade, there's something called the harmonized system of tariffs. And the HTS system is designed to, or harmonized system of trade? I don't know. The HTS system is designed to categorize every product in the world in a specific box of some kind. And it's all inclusive. And what I mean by that is your code, well, let's say there's a code for leather purses. There's a section for leather goods. And within that leather goods, there's wallets, bags, briefcases, journals, and then there is all others, right? So that's what I mean when I say that's all inclusive, is that if your thing doesn't fall into any of these 5 categories, there's the all other category. Now, the reason why this HS code matters is that this system is used by every country to allow for them to establish the tariffs, because a lot of other countries tariff products coming out of the US or products coming out of other countries. It's a pretty common thing. So with that, they need to have a system to standardize it. The first 6 digits of the harmonized system code are universally determined by a governing body. And then the last 2 digits are domestic, and you can use those last 2 digits domestically to figure out whether, so you can just define it even further, right? This good is these first 6 digits are agreed on by everybody, and the last 2 you get to assign as a country. Now, for us, I learned all this back when I worked for my prior company doing furniture, because I was in their global import-export business part of it. And so I learned all of this. They went to school for all of this. And so I have some experience in this particular world. And that's why I've been watching this with great interest, because it's been something that doesn't affect me right now very much, but it was something that with my prior employer this would affect them substantially. I do know that for a fact. But so what qualifies as a substantive transformation? The answer is, does it change HTS codes, right? So I'll give you an example. If you bought leather from China, you brought it into your country in Germany, and you made it into a German journal, you could then say that that product was made in Germany because it went under a substantial transformation and changed HTS codes. In the US, that's not good enough. The US, it's all or virtually all of the raw material and the labor that went into it, right? That's very unique, and it's a very, very high bar. Now, the good news is that if you're really dedicated, you can actually meet this bar. And there is some caveats into that all or virtually all thing. For example, sometimes it's by weight. They say, okay, if 99% of the product is US based by weight, well, then it's all or virtually all. That qualifies, right? If it's 95%, 97% by weight, or you can do by value. If the specific thing that you're adding is virtually unvaluable, right? So a screw would be a great example of something that would normally be considered not very valuable. Like if you had a car and 99% of the car was made in the US, but the screws were made in Taiwan or whatever, that would still qualify as a made in USA car because it's all or virtually all. However, these things are always litigated. That's how they're figured out. But the short answer is our screws for our number ones and our the leather itself all comes from the United States, so we're good there. The number two journals, this is where this became a bit of a contention for us, right? Because our inserts are moleskin, right? Well, we want to use moleskin inserts. They're a well-known brand. Same thing with the Leuchtturm brands. We want to use those brands because they're well-known. Well, is that what we're selling? And we talked to legal counsel, and their conclusion, and I agree with them, is this. People come to the Murdy Creative Company to buy really the leather product. You can buy a moleskin at Target. You can go to Amazon and buy a moleskin. You can buy a Parker Jotter online. You can buy a Parker Jotter at the Staples, right? So those specific components of the product aren't really part of the product in that they are replaceable and they are removable, right? So that's not really why, and they're not unique to us, right? That's not what you're buying from us. What you're buying is the journal itself, the leather, the bar, the screws. That component is really what the product is the core of the product. And that was why they said we can call the number two journals made in USA. And I agree. We're not, like I said, the inserts are somewhat irrelevant. Now, to that point, we have been diligently working on our own pen, and great progress is being made there. And that pen will qualify. And that's where it gets a little tricky because the refill insert in it, the refills come from all over the place. I think the Jotter ones are made in France. I think the Pilot ones are made. Where are the Pilot ones made? I actually don't know. I know that the Zebra ones are made in Japan, right? So they come from all over the places, but the refill isn't really the pen. It's a replaceable part, right? That's the part you consume and throw out, right? So is that the pen? Not really, right? So that's where all of this gets more complicated, but you can see that we are intently trying to get more and more of the product made in-house. In fact, we had for a long time, it was a long discussion, worked on saying, are we going to launch our own insert company? And the answer is probably eventually we will. I have grand plans for what our inserts are going to look like. And to be honest, they are going to be the greatest. They are going to have the absolute best quality paper you can imagine. They are going to be made with the finest materials, and they will be perfect for our products. So they're going to be perfect for everybody's products, but we're going to launch our own competitor to moleskin and Leuchtturm at some point in the future. The problem is that the equipment to make those particular products are very expensive. It's very expensive to get a Smith binding machine and all of the other things that need to go into it. And really, the reason why that doesn't normally matter is because you're making 10 million versions of this thing, right? You're making a huge variety of them, and you're selling them everywhere. So it's a volume business, so the machinery equipment is not normally that big of an issue. But for us, there's kind of a Mox Nix, right? Do we want to make a brand of inserts that's a separate brand, which is probably what we'd end up doing, have them be in our books, and then also sell them writ large to the market? And that's probably what we'd end up doing and seeing if we can get Barnes & Noble to switch or something else like that. But I digress. That is on our long-term plan, right? The folios, same thing. It's all USA-based. The pen obviously isn't included. The insert obviously isn't included because those aren't really the core of the product. So we have made diligent efforts to have everything be made in USA to qualify for that standard, which means that virtually all of the raw materials and labor are in the United States. And that's really exciting because it means that during these times of upheaval in the market, during these wild swings where everyone's unsure, we are sure. Our prices aren't going anywhere. In fact, we knew that this was going to be something that when we priced our product, we said this is going to be the price, and we've been very, very aggressive about not changing our prices whenever possible. I don't think we did a price increase last year. Unless something miraculous happens, I don't think we're going to have a price increase this year, although I can't for sure say that. And the last price increase we did was mostly because it was in the middle of COVID when inflation was at enormous increases. And that was when our leather went up because everything went up. So, I mean, that's been something where we've been really excited about the stability that we're able to provide with our product line. And all in all, it's been kind of fun to think through what this presents as far as an opportunity for the Murdy Creative Company. I have always, my long-term dream for the Murdy Creative Company is to have a big building with every kind of machine inside it, every possible machine inside it, and have it so that we make everything under the sun. I've talked about this in previous podcasts, and I want us to make everything under the sun, and obviously we're going to put our brand on it, and it's going to be stamped of our approval. And I was thinking about this when it came to the current trade war, is that depending on how long and how serious these tariffs are, companies are going to eventually give in, and they're going to have to start to look for U.S. manufacturers. I think a lot of them already have been, and if not U.S. manufacturers, at the least they're going to look for allied countries that are going to have low tariffs to find their sourcing from, right? So for us, as a small manufacturing company with a stamping press and a mill and laser engravers and a team of brilliant people who can make things with their hands, I've been thinking, how do we connect with people looking to switch from buying from China to buying from American manufacturing? And it dawned on me that this is where there's a little bit of a disconnect and a real problem that we as a country have got to figure out. We got to solve this. And I don't know how to solve it quite yet, but we don't have our version of Alibaba. So for those of you who don't know, almost everything you buy on Amazon is from China, from a person in the US buying from Alibaba. That's not always true. It's a gross generalization, yada, yada, yada. But the point is that's probably what the case is. Somebody went to Alibaba.com. They searched for what they wanted to sell on Amazon. They found a manufacturer. They agreed on a price. The manufacturer ships it to usually a third-party logistics facility, prepackaged however they want it. Sometimes that's an Amazon warehouse directly. Sometimes it's a warehouse in the States. And then when you buy it from Amazon, Amazon takes that off the shelf and fulfills it. And the person who's buying from China never ever saw the product. They never interacted with the product. They just do basically the marketing for it, right? And the importing. And those are the people that are getting really, really hammered right now, is those importers. Well, they found it via Alibaba because they can search on Alibaba for a product, right? For any product, practically. And Alibaba is a marketplace. It's like Amazon, but for manufacturers. So if you are wanting to buy something direct from a manufacturer at quantity, that's where you go. And it's like we almost need something like that for the US, where there's a website for people who've been buying things from China to say, we want to buy 500 of this thing. What manufacturer, and this is the price we're hoping for. I mean, they can put that in. What manufacturer in the US is willing to take on that contract, right? It's almost like how the government does government contracts, right? Where they open the bidding, right? And if there was something like that, if there was a place like that, then companies like mine as a manufacturer could look through the contracts and say, are there products that we can manufacture at the price that the customer wants? And then we'd take the contract, right? But we don't really have that infrastructure set up yet. And because of that, it's very difficult for a manufacturing company who wants to bring on more business to find customers who want to stop importing from China. And that's going to be something we got to figure out. Now, here's the thing. Whenever there's a market opportunity, hopefully, someone fills it. And I think that there will be someone who fills it. How, when, in what way, how successfully, all up for debate. But that's the hope. And for us, we are that small American manufacturer who makes everything in-house on purpose so that we can avoid this kind of issue and so that in the future, we can make other things for other people, right? I want to grow the business. We have very diligently focused on slimming down everything, getting efficient so that we can work our way to a place where we've got that strong financial and cash position to negotiate bigger growth, right? We have grown a lot in the last 5 years. We've done a lot of that with debt. We need to get our debt down. We've made a lot of success in that in the first quarter by being pretty aggressive and being slim and focused, right? So we're not really looking to expand beyond our bags and our pens that we're looking at right now. However, we have a great amount of manufacturing capacity and capability, and I want to do more. And that is an interesting opportunity, right? I don't think that we're likely to see this change in the next year. I think that what we're seeing right now is pretty much what it's going to be for the next year. I think it's going to get worse, actually, right? What's the shark that's the bald guy? Kevin? Mr. Wonderful is what he goes by. He says that tariffs on China should be 400%. Now, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I mean, that's a pretty crazy thing to say, but crazier things have happened. And I certainly think that if there were 400% tariffs on China, yeah, everybody would get hit with that. But at the same time, I also think that a lot of manufacturers or a lot of importers would suddenly seek American manufacturing or other allied manufacturing for their sourcing very quickly, because that would become quickly untenable. And the flip side is this. the government's bringing in a lot of tariff money, right? Theoretically. What they should do, if anybody from the Trump administration is watching this, which I don't think there are any, but feel free to just take this right to the top. They need to take that money from the tariffs and they need to turn it into domestic grants for small businesses to invest in capital. If they did that, they would see a lot of success. Because right now, the reason why we're not launching our business to make inserts is because I don't have the capital right now to buy the machines I need to do it. They're $400,000 machines to get the whole suite of machines that I would need to make books in country. I'd do it if I had $400,000. I'd do it if I could even borrow loan money for that at a fixed small amount, right? So if the government is looking at this going, how can we stimulate the local manufacturing and disincentivize international manufacturing? Take the tariff money, create small grants for businesses like mine to buy equipment to build the manufacturing here. We'll do it. I'd love to do it. I would love that, right? And all of these pieces, I think in the bigger picture, do end up working themselves out. And we will, as the Murdy Creative Company, in the next 2 years, hopefully expand our production capacity, expand the equipment we have, bring on more people. I want to grow. I want to do that. And I think we can. And I'm hoping that the purse line goes gangbusters. I think it might. I'm hoping that the purse market goes gangbusters in part because most of the handbags that you get from TJ Maxx or from anywhere, they're made in China and they're going to be very expensive very shortly, right? And if you're going to buy expensive Chinese garbage, you might as well buy expensive American good quality. So I think that's the logic behind all of this. Now, I don't know the future. I don't know what the future holds. Neither do you, nor does anybody else. And so all I can do is pray and do my best. And here we are. But the good news is that for our product line, we're not seeing major changes. In fact, I don't even think our inserts really have seen a change in the latest bit. And if they do, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Like I said, I really want to start an insert company if I had the cash. And if the inserts get a lot more expensive, well, the cost-benefit analysis changes a little bit for us, right? But in the meantime, I'm proud to say that it's not a really big deal for us. And you'll enjoy seeing the prices you've seen before from the Murdy Creative Company on into the future, hopefully. And that's exciting for me. But I want to hear what your thoughts are. What do you think about my attitude towards manufacturing here? Do you think I'm right about the grant program? Do you think I'm right about the tariffs overall? Do you think that there's things I'm missing about this whole process? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. I'd love for you to send us emails. I'd love for you to engage. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. All of that interaction tells the algorithm that this is a great video and people should see it, and it shows it to other people. And that's good for everybody. So definitely contribute if you'd like in the comments. I will read them. I do read them. I respond to most of them. And I really appreciate all of you who've been part of this operation as we've expanded. I'm hoping for bigger and brighter things in the future. Check back again next week on Wednesday for the next topic. And don't forget to check all of the notification bells and subscribe bells that are down there. If you got a question about the product, about the company, go to murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co. We have a contact form on the main page of our website at the bottom. You can go there. You can give us a phone call at 414-434-9001. Anna will be the one answering the phone because we have human beings do that kind of stuff now. You can text us at that number as well, 414-434-9001. Now, unfortunately, Anna does go to sleep and eat, so we're only available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time, because we like to have a little bit of work-life balance. So if you call us outside of those hours, leave us a voicemail. Anna will listen to the voicemail and get back to you when she has a moment. So definitely reach out to us if you have a question or concern about the product in any way. If you want to leave us a good review, go to murdycreative.co/review. That will redirect you right now to Google. I'm fairly confident is where it goes. So you can leave a review on Google. We are trying to improve our SEO on Google specifically. So that's why the reviews go there. In the old days, it went to Facebook. And so because we were trying to improve our Facebook presence. So if you click on that review button and it takes you somewhere else, just know that we want you to leave a review there because it's helping us strategically in some meaningful way. So go read the reviews there if you want to read them. Go to murdycreative.co/reviews, and that actually aggregates both our Facebook reviews and our Google reviews, and you can click on the buttons and see all the different things. So it's a great place to read reviews if you're curious. If for whatever reason you would leave us a bad review, please, 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 before you leave us a bad review, give us an opportunity to make things right. It is deeply important to me personally that everyone is happy with their purchase. And if you're not happy with your purchase, I desperately want to fix that. Reach out to us. We will make it right. We have free refunds or refunds, and we really want to make it so that it's something you are thrilled with. If you're not thrilled with it, we want to take it back and give you your money back. We are honest folk, and we want that to be the case. So reach out to us before you leave us a bad review and let us fix it, please. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, wait, I'm not done yet. There's more. If you want to get a personalized item, you can get a custom engraved item on almost anything that we sell. We have custom engraving. Text is on the website for the product itself on the product page. But if you want to add a logo or something else, you can click on the Add Custom Logo Engraving button. It's a blue button. It's below the Add to Cart button. Once you click on that button, it'll take you to your customizer. You can upload logos. You can add text, a lot of text. You can reposition, rotate, whatever your heart's desire. It works best with black and white images. In fact, it's pretty exclusive to black and white images. So if you got grayscale, that's not going to work. It's got to be pure black and white. It's two tones because the engraver laser is either on or off. However, if you're an artist and you understand cross-hatching or dot matrix shading, it can do that. It just has to be black and white. It's got to be two tones. You can add, resize, rotate. Please don't use copyright images. Every time you use copyright images, it creates huge headaches. And I don't like that. But we want to obviously, get you that custom design that you love. So reach out to us if you have a question about that. If you don't see that blue button, not everything is in the customizer. We're still working on that, but we can still customize it. Just send us an email with the image that you want to customize and the product you're interested in getting it engraved on, and we'll make a mock-up for you as well as a custom order link that we can set up. So reach out to us if you want one of those. If you have bulk discounts, we have bulk discounts built into the cart. So if you want to get something with you want to get a little bit larger quantity, we're happy to work with you on that. The bulk discounts start at quantity 5 and go up from there. It's 5 eligible items. So refills don't count. I don't think the pens count. I don't think, or at least the jotters don't count. I don't think name engravings obviously don't count. Even though they're a separate line item, they're not a separate thing. So it's 5 of what I'll describe as real products that you can get, and that's the bulk discount. So check that out there. If you have any questions or concerns, if something's not working on the website, whatever the reason, reach out to us. We are always, always happy to help. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.